Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We're playing in the Fall of Oriath beta. We have arrived in the Den of Evil. Well, not quite evil, but it is the Den in Act 7. Last episode we cleared the cruel labyrinth and we found a very nice weapon in there. That was the Eagle Claw over here. Turned out that it actually rolled into a nice rare. Then I rolled my other claw. I actually found another claw, a noble claw, and also rolled that into a nice rare. So our damage output is now 1634 damage per second. And it's mostly physical and a bit of chaos. But we lost our elemental damage component. Well, at least most of it. There's still a little bit that gets added from rings and things like that. Which doesn't really help, but doesn't really hurt either. But at least we have a little bit of damage now. Hello there, the Great White Bones. I think this might be related to the thing that we murdered when we came through here the first time. The fact that there's a necromancer standing next to us might help as well. The Bone Sculptor, exactly. You two are related. So funny enough, I completely missed this the first time I went through. That used to be the exit, but of course there is another entrance. But it's being a little bit of a windy passage with a couple of splits. It is doable. It's actually rather easy to miss the boss fight here. A double boss fight like that, it is nice. So doing a bit more damage means, of course, we leech more. Also, I should enable my discipline aura. No, just a silly idea. Accidentally clicked it off somewhere. Because the larger my energy shield pool is, the more mana, or no, not mana, energy shields I can leech per second. So it's gonna make the leech a little bit more efficient and help us keep it all topped up to the max. And I think we might even be doing enough damage sometimes to just stun enemies. Because they do get just knocked back a little bit. Or just staggered. That is the funny thing of the damage on claws. There's quite a range for the damage to go on. In, for example, this one, 40 to 112. 35 to 140. So the top end of the damage is 3 to 4 times as high as the low end. So you got some variation there. So the average is going to be okay, but sometimes those peaks that you get, they will really do quite some damage. Also nice thing, both claws are relatively fast now. Got a 1.5 and a 1.6 attacks per second claw. I used to have a 1.5 and a 1.3. So, well, it's going to be a little bit faster swinging in combat. And of course that means we can hit things faster and gain a life per hit more frequently as well. From what I understand, the fight that we're about to run into, the Arakaali fight in the forest encampment, I don't think it was individualized yet for your choice. I think it was still the same, and it's going to be one of the next content updates that will actually update that. So I'll probably miss that by a couple days. I give it a chance, but at some point you do have to move forward. But we'll at least get to play Act 8 content soon enough. I'm really looking forward to it. I haven't actually watched any footage yet, with the exception of the introduction spoilers. I know there's going to be a fight, something to do with puddles, but that's mostly the extent of what I know of the what I presume was the final fight of Act 8. Don't know anything else. So it's gonna be a nice surprise to just see what it's like and discover how the fight goes and how to do it, how to survive it, things like that. Let's see, let's backtrack a little bit. Murder some infected beasts. Now, being able to upgrade my belts is rather useful. Hopefully we don't have to kill too many beasties. Okay, there's a queen here. Oh, 7 of 12, that's just a single pack, that is good. Mutated Brood Queen. Luckily, you are relatively tankable. And there we are. A nearly level 3. Or nearly level 4 even, Torah. That's 53 area. We're currently 57, so we're still gaining full XP. Which is actually nice. We'll gain full XP until we're, I think, 2 levels more. Could be 59. And after that it's gonna slowly arc down. But 60, 61, that should still gaining a fair chunk of XP, and after that it's gonna be about half or so. But of course, the higher level you are, the more XP you need per level. So eventually, it's going to be less efficient. Forest encampment. Let's see if the fight is now actually interesting. Whether they throw anything at you or whether they still haven't actually done much with it. Because if you remember back to the Slayer version of the in Beta 1, basically what we could do was just blow at the foes and they would die. Okay. Just put that one down, that one up. Okay, so they're doing a little bit of damage. And Raptured Hellion. Enthralled Direwolf. Ghost Lord of the First. Okay, just do some shouting here. Standing in the middle of burning ground, definitely not the best place to be. Okay, so they're actually doing some damage now. That is good. And probably should try a little more my best to just not get hit in the face by his rather obviously telegraphed attacks. Okay, I'm very happy with my god power that my life flask will actually recover itself. Because the interesting thing is, of course, if you're down to no flask charges, then you can't drink, then you'll automatically start recharging. Because, well, nope. Whew. Okay. So if we contrast this with the previous version of the fight, that was a snooze fest. This was genuinely exciting.
When you try to control everything.
And we now have the Soul of Arakaali. Chance to avoid bleeding and corrupting blood. I think I'll stay with the Soul of Islata, because life flask charges 3 per 3 seconds is really darn sweet if you haven't used a flask recently. So of course that is in the past 4 seconds. So let's say you're completely out of charges. You wait 4 seconds, then 3 seconds later you gain 3 charges. Repeat that a couple times. Then it takes you 12 seconds to get 12 charges. That seems okay. Let's see. Either way, we can push forward. Waypoint, let's use that to go back. Go back. And gain ourselves a passive point. But we first need to empty our pockets. Necklace, fireflies, yada yada. Just get rid of some of the items here. This is really low level. This one, the colors are actually some that we could use. Though the resists are worse than what I've got, so for now we'll just vendor all the things. Keep the Firefly Amulet, chat with Aramir, get the reward, get a skill point. Skill point translates into more energy shields. So, time to move forward. I did go back to the Broken Bridge area and I cashed in the, I got the locket that Waylon was looking for. You only get, I think, rare boots for it. So, not a truly interesting thing. But it is useful to make, because it is a side quest. We did it in the first playthrough for the story, so that's not all that exciting. It's just I missed it the first time through. But out in the open here, we're doing really well. But yeah, Abyssal Cry is great for clearing regular monster packs. But against bosses it does not quite help us most of the time. And just looking ahead to the Arakaali fight, I think it is actually completely devoid of add-ons. So we will probably be using multi-strike in that fight just to boost our damage output through the roof. Okay, we're surrounded here, so let's just evasion up. Okay. So funny enough, on normal, or in part 1 in Act 2, or Act 2, we ignore the dread ticket in here. There is the side thing. Hey. I think we might have already read that one, so let's ignore it. Fireflies. We need a bunch of them. But of course there's also the fight with one of the other gods in the cave. It was a rather close fight, especially because the damage that you take gets amplified. Again, that's going to be one of those things that is going to be rather interesting for when you're playing on hardcore. But here we do have the luxury of being able to test it. And from what I remember, it was mostly us against the mob, and there's not going to be a lot of add-ons. So let's see, 1600 TPS. It's nearly 2100 TPS, so that's no, 1/3 extra. Let's see if this is a wise choice. Okay. The increased attack speed definitely helps. Basically means my life on the hit should be accumulating rather rapidly. Keep our fortify up, and there we are. Okay, must say, when we switch to this rather hyper aggressive mode, we do decent damage. Actually, no, the effective damage that we deal is double against, well, nearly double against compared to what we had against Izaro. Let's see, 5% chance to evade attacks if you've taken a savage hit recently. That's 1% additional physical damage reduction for each hit you've taken up until a maximum of 5%. So savage hit was 15% of your maximum life. Sure, most of the hits are going to be savage. Let's put that up front, because we don't really have a lot of armor. But yeah, it's the whole argument of I really enjoy the life loss charges. Because in a couple of fights now, they actually were the thing that kept me alive. Okay, there is a rare in here. That's you. Another firefly. Ooh, and a corrupted side effect. Here we are. Oh. We do have our Val lightning trap. The question is, do we... I think it's better to just ignore the corrupted area and just push forward. Because I think the journey to Arakaali is probably going to push us beyond 30 minutes. But I'm pretty confident that if we don't do the corrupted area, then we're going to keep it under 40 minutes. In the end, we'll see what it turned into. Oh, hello there, Barry. So for a Fist Reflect, we were mostly ignoring his special effect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Were we supposed to find more of them? Ah, there. Haha. Yay, and that is the final firefly. And then we'll just use the waypoint to get back. Hello, Eramir. Now the passive point. I appreciate that, mister. That was for killing the monster thing. The despair. Okay, 12% more energy shield. I think that definitely pushes us over 1,000 points. The next up is going to be heart and soul, and after that I'll actually have to have a peek at the skill tree to see what's going to be next.
Greetings.
Might as well just stash all the things. Okay, definitely one of the top contenders for quests that spam your inventory with items. Yeah, close to the exit there ought to be a shrine where we can put Groost's amulet to as a form of remembrance. Honor the guy he used to be before he got possessed. Because of course it wasn't a real Groost. This was just a corrupted version. Because some of these gods they're basically like the ancient Greek gods, always meddling in the affairs of people. Because that's what I remember from most of the classic Greek stories, is that it doesn't really matter what happened. If whether the gods won or lost, it was always people that lost. another level for Wither. Hey, hello there, Tunnel Worm. I think I want to murder you. Actually, I'm pretty sure I want to murder you. So note to self, maybe I should remember to put the Wither Totem up a bit more often for fights like this. So the last time, I seem to remember that the shrine was on my way towards the exit. So for now we'll work on the assumption that if we just look for the exit, we'll find the shrine on the way there. If not, then there's going to be a little bit of backtracking, exactly like this. Next area, we have no idea if it's gonna have a waypoint or not, so we'll just put a portal there, walk a bit further, and then we'll just see. There is a waypoint here. So what we do is tag the waypoint, and then we'll go back, and then we'll honor ghost, and then we'll move forward. Okay, Kale Snakes, of course they bypass our energy shield. So good thing we're hybrids, not completely focused on energy on our energy shield, because we would have a bit of an issue then. So hybrid life, energy shield, we're actually doing pretty fine. Of course, if you do go Chaos Inoculation eventually, then it's actually going to be worth more, because the Chaos immunity will actually mean something. Another corrupted side area. Let's ignore that one for now. Oh, that exploded nicely. Excellent. So, a little bit of life, a little bit of mana. Mana's always nice, just helps us with our mana regen. No, that's it. I don't think we've increased our mana usage all that often. Well, our attack speed is now up. And of course, with a higher attack speed comes more mana usage per attack per second. And I do have Leech attached to Abyssal Cry, so in that regard we're using more mana as well. But no, I'm not leveling Abyssal Cry, because there really is no point in leveling it, because all you do is increase the slowdown that it causes, but I'm not using Abyssal Cry to slow enemies down. All I really care about is exploding them. I think Abyssal Cry would be... As purely from a damage skill point of view, it would be better if it had a small radius increase as part of the leveling up process, instead of the slowdown bonus, because, well, I don't really care about that. Okay, and then we take a left here, where before we went right. And there we are. It's actually just a small thing. Small detour. Pretty, and oh no, as merry ancestors. I'll explode them. I think I don't remember these from last time. So this might be a new addition. Just a small touch to actually make this a little more meaningful. Also, let's bring the Eagle Claw home and have a chat with Yena. Or with Helena. Yay, we got another amulet. So what am I using now? Strengthen it. Let's pick up another agate. Percentage increase in energy shield. Massive boost to cold resist. A little bit of all elemental resist. A little bit of armor bonus. No more int bonus, no more life bonus. At 11% energy shield. Might actually come down to the same thing, and then of course the resistance bonus is gonna be significant. So let's see, if we plop this in, does it actually work or will we lack the int now? It's gonna work, okay. Funny enough, we actually lose a little bit of energy shield as well as a bunch of life, so for now let's just put this one in the bin of things to be explored at a slightly later stage. And let's continue, because we're pretty close. Coming from that way, then that means we just proceed in this direction. Okay, nice. I do like having the onslaught on a flask. So if we want or need it, then we can actually summon some extra attack speed to help us with some bosses and things like that. It's like having a light version of the multi-strike. Just at the touch of a button. Definitely notice if you haven't used your Abyssal Cry, then packs take much more effort because you do have to chase down each and every straggler. Well, you don't have to, but I do end up doing it in this case. They still have a nice chain explosion. Oh, lovely. So, one of the things I do want to test out at some point is whether increased area of effect, the support gem, is going to be worth it. Because though increasing the radius of the Abyssal Cry, on the one hand affecting more enemies, on the other hand increasing the explosion radius, I think it's going to be a nice boost. On the other hand, it just might not be worth the mana. Okay. But I think it's enough. Kashar Star. Whalem wants it. Okay, sure. Whatever it was. Let's do it in case it gives us a skill point or something. And Whalem is really close to the waypoint here anyway. Ha! It's actually a skill point. Lovely. Or it's Y. Ah, open up the Pantheon. There's a invisible Y. You don't see it, but you hear it. Then heart and soul. So, life is now over 2000. Our energy shields are over 1000. So, yeah, we did most of the things that we could. And for more defensive bonuses, we're gonna have to go towards Void Barrier and Revenge of the Hunted next. And after that, I think all we have left is offensive bonuses. So we have the Method to the Madness, we have Atrophy and Force Shaper as our major targets. So empty your pockets while we are here. Level 54 area, I am currently 58. Final area of Arakaali is going to be 55, so I'm already slightly overleveled for that. But I think being overleveled in this case is actually a good thing. Because it's going to be tough enough. I'm convinced it's going to be yet another tough fight. And I'm very curious to see whether the resistance penalty is going to be applied at Arakaali or whether we do have a little bit of grace time. And then that Act 8 is going to be apply it next. Still a little bit odd that the penalties are applied to your character and therefore that they are retroactively applied to you. So if you have the resistance penalty, you go back to Act 1, you still have the penalty. On the one hand, in your hideout, it does make it easier to see what your status is. But redoing boss fights after you've done them, no, grinding them a little bit before moving into the next area. If it's one of the bosses that applies the resistance penalty, then yeah, the second time through is going to be much more difficult because of the resistances. So there's that. So I've run this area a couple times with my previous character, because it's level 54 and I was making the leveling gap from 54, 55 to 68 for the maps. And this was the highest level area. Most of the time it's just a long stretch. Goes wide a little bit, but just keep pushing towards the top left and you're gonna end up where you want to be, or need to be. But it wasn't exactly at the end, so to backtrack a little bit if you push towards the final bit. On the other hand, it could be that they changed it. Hey, hello there, Superior Flame Blast. And there is a Yina over there. Let's tag the waypoint. And then hello Yina, here are your fireflies. Please, turn into one and then burn the webs down. Hot foxy lady. Okay, so Flame Blast also got changed. It used to only give 110% more spell damage, and now it also gets 55% more damage with ailments. So if you inflict burning with it, it actually still benefits from half the spell damage bonus that the old one used to give. So that's good. In the stash I do have a amethyst flask that also has, I think, poison removal, oh no, burning removal. I think it was the drop in for the Stip Knight. So for the Arakaali fight I might actually remember to swap that around. That at least will have 5% chaos resistance rather than negative 30. On the other hand, if we have enough life on hit, now we might actually be able to do without it. But again, I think Arakaali does a lot of spell-like effects rather than actual hits. In that case, evasion is not going to be all that great anyway. On the other hand, I actually have no idea whether it's spells or attacks. One of the ways to test it, of course, is to have a high block character and just stand in the middle and just tank her attacks and see whether you see the blocking animation or whether you don't see it. And if you do, then you know it's an attack. And you could then also do the same with a high spell block, low regular block character, and see whether you actually end up blocking it a lot, then you know it's a spell. And if you never actually see the blocking animation in either situation, then you might be dealing with an unblockable effect, because some bosses actually have unblockable things. So in terms of pure resists, amethyst rings are a pretty bad proposition, because you only get 13% in the best case to chaos resist, compared to 2 resists at 16% for a 2-stun. So now you'll be shorting yourself out of effectively 16 points of, or 19 points even, of resistances. But that said, because it's so much more difficult to obtain chaos resistance, might actually be something to consider anyway, just to bump it a little. Let's see, brutal, might as well just pick that up myself. And there is an exit over there, or at least a form of passage. I think it's to the next area, or the next sub-area. Elemental Prolif. Well, all the gems with quality are ones I can turn into gem cutter prisms, which I can use to upgrade my Vengeance trigger gem. Every 2% in a Vengeance increases the chance for it to trigger by 1%. So it makes it a bit more reliable to just keep the Vengeance effect going as often as possible. Therefore, hitting things, doing a little bit of damage, but most importantly just gaining you life and energy leech on a hit. Hello there. And as you can see, there's just a lot of chaos damage being dealt to me underneath the energy shield. I say with the cowards it's much more difficult to actually regain it. Of course, sipping from your flask every once in a while, there's no shame in drinking from your life flasks. Okay, unique there, Blight Blade. Just put a totem up. And down you go. Okay, I think we're pretty close to the actual exit from the area then. Blight Blade's often next to it, at least that's what I do seem to recall from Beta 1. Boom boom. So for this particular build, I did choose for Ghost Reaver because it's something I wanted to experiment with for a little. Hey, hello Tora. Infected beasts. It probably points to the old arena, so we're gonna ignore it. If you're not gonna go for Ghost Reaver, then considering how many red gems there are, picking maybe a more strength focused build for this might not be a bad idea. And then just go for a pure life tank maybe. Or at least rely much less on energy shield. And instead of heading towards the witch area, you could maybe head more south towards the ranger, and then from there to the duelist area. But just thinking of this on the fly, I haven't actually done any theory crafting or anything to see if it's viable or not. In that case, no, go for the trickster, especially the current path that I'm on towards the energy shield and evasion bonus that is pretty darn massive. Might be less useful, given that you're not really benefiting all that much from it. What you could do, of course, is actually pick up the assassin and go much more for just heavy hits, heavy crits. And now if you're applying poison with crits, you're doing even more damage, especially with the assassin, because you actually have a node that gives you 100% increased damage with poison that gets inflicted with crits. So that is a sibling build, so to say, of this that should have an easier time fitting all the gems, because your native armor type is probably gonna be a more strength based one. Let's see, there we are. But yeah, there's quite some artillery things going on here. Ooh, an essence. That's must admit, it's been a while since I actually saw essence mobs, so that's nice. Weeping Essence of Torment, tier 3. They're doing quite some damage. Because even with full evasion on, they were still whittling me down. Actually, I had to drink a life flask there. Oh, these buggers might also have something to do with that. Whew. Okay, next area. Depending on how large this area is and how lucky I am in finding the exit, we might or might not gain another level. Though I think in either case it's gonna be a travel node, so it's not really all that crucial. Yeah, another corrupted area. Oh, 42 minutes already. Actually taking a little longer than I had anticipated. So once again we'll skip the area, but Elbrion is one I must do because it's only at level 4.5 and I really want him at 5 to expand my hideout. Okay, feed souls to the relic, that's something I can do, especially while things are this confined. There we are. Lovely. And he's now at 4 2/3. Right, you've been shooting at me for the past minute or two. Let's actually take you out. Cross the bridge to the next segment. And lovely purple explosion. Hello there. Ooh, put a totem up and drop power. If we stay on this end, then the bond is not gonna do anything to us. Actually, I think the bond does have a small AoE around all the things that it is affecting, so that's going to be around the boss as well as the totems. So, ooh, Twin Claws. That's life and mana on the hits. That's definitely what I want. I mean, the Gemini Claws are the endgame version. Twin Claws are the mid-game version of what I would like to use. And we have more staircases, but I think we're gonna empty our pockets quickly. Have a quick look at the flask I had ready. Colors would be exact drop-in for this one. Also, once we get mana on the hits, the mana flask kind of becomes redundant, and we could replace it with a utility flask or shift the Stip Knight up by 1 and then put back a life flask. Well, in this case, that's going to be a little bit too much of a hassle. So the 23 charges used. So these have 2 sips and then close to a third one, and this is burning removal. So for now we'll phase out the Stip Knight and we'll see if the chaos resistance from the Amethyst Flask is going to be useful to us. It's odd too, because everything basically does chaos damage. Huh? If it weren't for just getting a lot of life on hits with melee splash, then instead of having melee splash actually in your setup, picking something that increases your single target damage probably would allow you to clear faster in combination with Abyssal Cry. In this case we're swapping again to multi-strike, and let's have a look at Arakaali's web. Let's do the boss fight and see whether any changes were made. Hey Soak. Hey Arakaali. Yeah. Okay. Not self, don't get hits. Ugh. There are some small spiders. That's alright. We can do with them. So not the self. Might not be all that useful to use Abyssal Cry if there's no enemies around. That was a small bit that she was not at. Okay, can we put a... Oh yeah, we can actually shock her. That's good. Oh. Okay, I think Silk kind of got eaten. Okay, so there are actually some add-ons. Putting totems near the edge is still an issue. You definitely have to put them away from the edge. That was painful. Also, just got distracted a bit too much there. Okay. Just seems like it's not a wise idea to get hit by those big dark purple orbs. Oh wow, she's actually down there. Ah. Ah. Make the purple stop. And there we are. Arakaali. No more on the first try. Definitely a fun fight. And even with negative 30 chaos, if you have the Amethyst Flask, should be good. I think without the Amethyst Flask, we probably would have fared okay as well. But yeah, just moving around instead of face tanking everything, probably the better strategy here, because a lot of her attacks are actually avoidable. And this actually doesn't have the voice acting yet. Many an artist of Asmerian descent is engaged in the sad worship of the sultry arachnid. Ah, we had this already last time. Now we have Arakaali's bonus. So, frozen and stun it can't be happening if you've had it happen to you recently. And for Arakaali, it's reduced damage from damage over time, increased recovery of life, and energy shield if you've stopped taking damage over time recently. Well, given the fact that there's quite some poison damage being dealt, there's quite some burning, bleeding, this might actually be rather useful. So let's do a swap. And then it is time to move over to the Sarn ramparts. Meet Sin at the Sarn encampment. Is this town already? No, 55 area. We do have a waypoint. So, you know what? Actually, we're gonna call it an episode here. Well, after this one is dead. Exactly. Like that. So, next episode, we will start off by walking to Sarn, as actually we ended up doing in Act 3 as well. Most of the time, now we have a waypoint there, small trip, and we have a similar situation again here. So, I do apologize that the episode got a bit longer than I had anticipated. In hindsight, it's probably better to cut this second leg of the journey into 2 parts, probably just heading for the Dread Thicket and then calling it quits, maybe going to the causeway and then just doing the last bit in a single episode. Probably would have been better in terms of spacing, but that's one of the nice things of the beta. Well, we play through and we get a feeling for how fast each bit of content goes, so we can adjust once the game actually launches. But with that said, I hope you did enjoy the playthrough. And I'm gonna thank you very much for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.